Hello, 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 and welcome to Content and Coffee. If this is your first Content and Coffee series, I do these chats Monday through Friday for about 15 to 20 minutes inside the Facebook group. And if you're watching the replay, I hope you have seen a couple of other episodes. If not, I'll give you a quick rundown on how they go. So again, they are 5 days a week, Monday through Friday. And essentially what I do is I pick one area of content and we just continue to talk about them, that area for about roughly 5 days, different sections of it. So this week is all about email marketing. So yesterday we spoke about the importance of email sequencing, and today I'm going to do the first step of my 3-step process for creating email sequences that really are powerful in you attracting and retaining your dream clients. So, a little bit about me if you're new to the series. My name is Nikki Nash and I am a business coach. I've been in marketing for a little over 10 years, started most of my career in corporate, and then went and worked for startups and then consulted some startups, and essentially realized that I did not want to work for somebody else. It was really kind of not the right fit for me. If you've heard me say it before, I'll say it again. It was a little bit soul sucking. I really was trying to find fulfillment out of work and kept moving from one job to the next, and never found the thing that was right for me. So if you have ever felt that, definitely comment below, give me like a hell's yeah, or I totally get it, or you're there now. And really the point of these series and all the content I produce and put out there is really for women who want to start their own business and they're really not sure either how to get started. Maybe they've already started their own online consulting or coaching business, or they're just trying to start testing the waters in terms of starting a business on the side. So, hi, Chris. Today is really, again, part one of my 3-part series. So today is about email sequences. And yesterday, I'm going to do a quick recap on yesterday, and then we'll move forward with today's content and then wrap it up in about 15 minutes or so, and then you can go on with your day. So yesterday, again, was about the importance of email sequences. And what we really distinguished yesterday is how you may have newsletters out there, or you may be doing this like huge once a week mailer to your list. And what I'm kind of my point of view is that what really adds value is if you segment your list and you start really getting a sense of who people are that you're connecting with and really understand what's important to them, what's going to add value to their lives. And then you take them on this email journey every 2 to 3 days. That's like, hey, I used a health example yesterday that was like, hey, I know you're trying to lose, those last 10 pounds. Here's some email, here's like a every couple of days little sequence about, what to buy at the grocery store, how to do certain workouts, different things that will help you start to lose those first couple of pounds. And then at the end of it, you can do a really awesome offer that's like, hey, if you want support as you're on this journey for losing weight, you can work with me, and you give them that sort of information. But what we really spoke about yesterday is that, before somebody buys your high-end product or package, it's kind of like dating, and before a marriage proposal, they want to get to know you and know that they trust you and things like that. And so that's why I really believe in email sequencing and taking folks on a journey where they're going from, I've done this before, like you're getting them from point A to point B for free, and then you're saying, all right, you want to get the rest of the way, I can absolutely support you, here are my products and services that'll get you there, and really taking them on that sort of journey, as opposed to doing a mass letter to everyone on your list and saying, hey guys, here's a bunch of information, hopefully you can sort through all this and figure out what's right for you. You're really taking responsibility for how your audience is engaging with you. And so that is pretty much what we covered yesterday. And if you missed yesterday's video, it's in the group, so definitely go back and watch it. And today is what I do my first step when I'm going, okay, I want to take my audience on a journey. Let me start to think about what I'm going to do to get them there. So the first step I actually start thinking about my own business and what I'm valuing. So again, if this is your first one, I keep little notes to the side to make sure I don't miss anything. But the very first step that I take is I look at my top three business goals. So The reason why you start with your business goals first is because content may not solve all of your business goals. It may not help you with everything. I do believe that content fundamentally will help you attract and acquire your dream clients, but it really depends on what your business goals are. So let's say your business goals are you want to, by the end of this year, or if you're looking at what you're planning strategically for next year, let's say you want to bring on 5 new clients. You want to grow your email list by 5,000 people and you want to build some sort of online community, and you want 3,000 people in that online community by the end of the year. So if those are your business goals, to really start there, you just kind of map them out and make sure, if you've heard of SMART goals, they're specific, measurable, actionable, timely. Yep, those are the 4, making sure that you have all those in your business goals. And then what I like to do is go, okay, these are my goals for my business for whatever period of time, the next quarter, the next few months, the whole year. And I start mapping out, okay, how do I think content will actually help me achieve these goals? And so I start answering that question. So again, quick recap, I start very much with my business goals. I pick usually my 3. I try not to have more than 3 business goals anyway, but I pick my top 3. And then I start thinking, maybe put a star next to them, or just in a little paragraph underneath what your top 3 business goals are. I start thinking, how is content creation going to help me with these business goals? So for example, I mentioned mine were like, oh, I want to attract 5 new clients could be one of your business goals. And you may say to yourself, well, the reason content would add value to that or help me in reaching that goal is because my package is, $50,000. This isn't me again, this is just making stuff up. And for somebody to spend $50,000 on, my product or service, they're probably going to really want to get to know me before they make that sort of large investment. So one of the ways that I can do that is through content, and you start writing how content can help you and support there. The next goal was like, oh, I want to grow my list. All right, well, maybe for that, free content will help people join my list, or it'll help folks join my Facebook community. So again, it's really going, what are my top 3 business goals, and how can content help support me in those goals? Now, if you have a goal that's like, oh, I want to, sell 1,000 watches, content may help people, may support your brand awareness goal, and who knows, it may or may not help you specifically sell those 1,000 watches. You'd have to think about what makes sense for your business and really start mapping out how content creation can support you in those goals. And once you've done those first 2 steps, you start going, okay, if I had created content and I know that I'm doing it in line with my business goals, if my dream client engaged with one piece of content, what is that one action I would want them to take after engaging with that piece of content? And so, for example, if my business goal that I wanted to address was growing my list, I may say, hey, I want people, the one step I want them to take is I want to use content to get people to sign up for my list. So what you may do is you may create a lead page and a lead magnet, and we'll talk about that later this month, but you may create some sort of free content that you're going to give away in exchange for an email address. So you go, okay, that's my strategy. That's what I'm going to go there. And then what you may do is you may say, all right, that's the first thing I want to do is I want them to get on my list. The next thing I want them to do is I eventually want them to buy, my, lowest package. And for them to get to buy my lowest package, I know that they're going to want to spend, on average 7 hours with me from a content perspective. So from them downloading that free guide, I want to take them on a journey of videos and emails, and just keep providing them free content, where after they've really spent about 7 hours engaging with my content, they're ready to spend, $1,000 on a package that I have, my lowest package. Again, making up these numbers. But if you know that that's what your goal is, then you have somebody download a free piece of content, and then you can use email to make sure that they're continuously engaging with you so that they get to about 7 hours of time spent with you before they're willing to drop $1,000. Now, just so you guys that are like 7 hours, why did you say 7 hours? One of my business coaches produces a lot of content out there around how do you get sales. And so her big strength is sales. And one of the things that she said is that before folks are willing to spend on your high-end packages, they need to spend about 7 hours with you, which is why she loves that I'm such a big proponent of content and really getting content out there, because one of the best ways for people to spend time with you is through content. And so that's where I came up with 7 hours, is because that's what research that she has found has shown. And so back to this email sequence, if you know that you want folks to engage with you for about 7 hours, you may start thinking, well, here are all the places they can engage with me. They can, follow me on Instagram. They can be in my Facebook group. They can watch my YouTube videos. And so what your email sequencing can actually do, if you're tying it back to your business goals, is think about, okay, what makes sense? Maybe first thing I want them to do after they get on my list is I want them to join my Facebook group, because then it's not just me, it's a community of amazing other folks that are interested in the same thing, and they're staying engaged and getting a lot of free content and resources there. Then I may go, actually, what you really want to do is, if you've missed my videos and you want to keep going back and watching them, you should follow me on YouTube. And so maybe you have, you give them a bunch of free content that adds value to their life, and then you say, hey, the next step I want you to do is follow me on YouTube. And you start really thinking, okay, what are the actual call to actions I want my dream client to have when they're engaging with my content? And so the reason why we start with your business goals is because the content itself is going to be 100% about your dream client and how you're adding value to their lives. But instead of, if you actually want them to take some sort of action that'll grow your business, you want to start with what are your actual business goals and what do you actually want them to do? And so that is why those 3 questions are really important, starting with what are my top 3 business goals? And then going, all right, I have my top 3 business goals. Out of all the goals, or some of them, how can content actually support me in achieving those goals? And really thinking through that. And then once you have, okay, I know that content will support me in achieving these specific goals, you can say, all right, if my dream client was reading the first piece of content, what action would I want them to take? With this next piece of content, what action would I want them to take? And you start mapping out maybe like 3 to 4, or maybe even up to 7, it depends on you, action steps that you want your dream client to take from engaging with content that you've created. And when you start mapping that out, you actually have created some sort of email sequence journey. You don't have necessarily the content, but you have the call to actions. And once you know the call to actions, it's easier to identify which free piece of content that you're putting out there best aligns with what you're offering. Maybe one of the things you're doing is you're like, hey, I will, hop on the phone with about 10 people if you sign up. The first 10 people that sign up, I'll spend, 45 minutes with you. I'm making this up, but like, let's say that's something you want to do because you know that folks that are more likely to buy your product or service will do so after they get on the phone with you. So maybe that's one of the things you offer. You just really start thinking like, what actions do I want my dream client to actually take before, in order for me to get them where I want them to net out, which is clearly for most of you, either buying your product or service is usually where you want to get them to go. So again, today, all about thinking about your goals. So homework for today for you guys is to really sit down and go, okay, answer those 3 questions. That's it for today. It's going, what are my top 3 business goals? How can content support me in achieving those 3 business goals? And it could be 1 business goal, 2 business goals, all 3. Really think about how content can play a role there. And then the last thing is to write out, if my dream client was reading like the first piece of content, what action would I want them to take? And then do it maybe 7 times and start mapping out what actions you would want your dream client to take after engaging with 1 piece of content. And the reason I say 1 piece of content is it goes back to what we spoke about 2 days ago on Monday, a little bit about newsletters, is that if you have multiple call to actions in an email or in a piece of content, your dream client is probably not going to take all of them. They're going to take 1. They may not take any because you have too many there. So you really want to just go, here's 1 piece of content, here's 1 action you can take, and like that's what you're going to do at the end of reading this piece of content, and that's all you want to do. So that is the homework for today. I didn't mention this at the beginning of this video, but just so you guys know, if this is your first time, what we do in this group is we post a Q&A post. Delaney posts it up there. So at the end of these sessions, if you have questions, if you're like, hey, here are my top 3 business goals, I actually don't know how content can play a role. If you're like, hey, here are, my call to actions that I want, my 7 call to actions that I'd want a dream client to take. Are they too big? Are they too small? Is it enough? If you want feedback on any of that, or if you have questions regarding anything that we've talked about today, definitely post it in the group. You can either put it as a comment on our post or anywhere in the group. If you just write a message and put hashtag Ask Nikki Nash, I will see it. And I'm in the group every day just reading what you guys are writing and seeing how I can support you as best as possible. So that is the gist of today. Again, these are, quick little 15 to 20 minuters every day, Monday through Friday. So tomorrow we'll continue to build upon this and go, all right, I have my goals and I know the steps that I want people to take. Now what do I do in terms of creating that email content for that email sequence? So that's what we'll be discussing tomorrow. Again, same time, same channel, 9 a.m. Eastern in this Facebook group. So I look forward to seeing you guys then as well. And hit me up if you have any questions. Love you guys lots. Bye.